So let me ask you a question, Conrad. So before you got on here, Disco showed me a video. It was like maybe 5 minutes long of you and Bischoff talking about the Cody thing. Mm-hmm. You know which one I'm referring to?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've been pretty adamant about where I am on Cody. Yeah.
Before we get into that, I just have one question. Will you be at the Dave LaGreca rally on Saturday?
That's so great. Isn't that great that guy reported like it was a rally?
Yeah. I saw it tonight.
The show, and he's like, "That's not a rally." Well, then don't write it's a rally.
Wrestling Inc.
Because we were joking about it. Says it's a rally. Wait, you got to pay for it? It's like 40. That's like a rally. Oh, what kind of rally is that? We got to pay $41. Like
hilarious.
Right.
Good marketing by Dave LaGreca. Shout out to him.
Yes.
So
Gramercy Theater.
Go ahead, Disco. I'll let you.
Well, so Conrad, you just stay. Like I know you're very adamant. You're a friend of Cody. How close are you and Cody?
We talk almost every day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So now we have a perspective. So you're not just a random fan like the Mark podcasters that are these guys are like to think they're no, I'm just saying. And the funny thing, somebody referred to you as like a Mark podcaster, and I was like, I do not, bro. You to me have elevated.
How does that make sense?
Like,
no, they don't understand what those words mean. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a former fan, but you're obviously very good at this job.
Well,
when you interview these guys and stuff, like I think you're one of the best. Like the way you format things, and like your shows are excellent, and the numbers show. You do very well.
Well, I mean, to be clear, I am a fan. I am a Mark. I think all of us are, or we wouldn't be doing this. But the idea that I am a money mark, because that's the one people like to throw around. It's like, You don't understand what those words mean. I mean, does that mean I'm not a broke fan? I guess so. But I've been successful in business, and I actually make money doing this. And anybody who really knows what I'm doing, understands that. Like, this is a for-profit business. I mean, I'm on here with you guys because I like you guys. But normally, these lights turn on and that microphone slides over because I'm getting a check. I mean, that's what it is.
Well, my issue is that to me, the Mark podcasters are the fans that do that by themselves. Bro, you're sharing the microphone with experts in this business.
Yes. And I'm trying to learn.
That's like right. So that's like it's a completely different format than these fans that just come on and just complain about everything. And I'm like, I don't know how people could listen to that. It's weird that they have cultivated a fan base. Like fans have cultivated a fan base of other fans that just want to hear fans about wrestling. And it's a weird, I can't figure that out. I
think. I mean, that it's a spinoff of Twitch streaming. Like guys like Aiden Ross, who are like some of the biggest streamers in the world. You don't really know why they're famous or why they're so over. They just are. and that's really cool. I mean,
you know what's funny, Conrad? One day I went like on a little rabbit hole and I looked at like the top 10, podcasters. And I was okay, let me see if I can figure out why these people are so popular. I watched all 10, dude. And I was like, there's nobody here I'd watch again.
Right.
But there are a lot of people that will watch them. The United States and the world is so big that if you just get 300,000 people watching you, you could be profitable.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
And actually, they say, Conan, that if you have over 1,000 downloads per episode as a podcaster, you're in like the top 3% of podcasts because there's so many, And obviously this show and Conrad shows, we're all very high up in that,
Well, let's get it because me and Conan, all of us have different perspectives. You and Joe have similar perspectives on it. And I had listened to Eric's take, and it's not to say it's weird, but when Eric is on, there's big stories that come up like this one, everything. And Eric always seems to have like the same or similar perspective that I have initially, like my initial thought, right? So, and I liked I liked the way he was describing is like, if you're going to a movie, like we and Conan, we discussed this after we played the clip of YouTube the clip, and I said Eric piqued my interest to develop this theory. Is that like when you go to a movie and you go to see Rocky, right? You know what the finish is going to be.
Yes.
But but there are so many good scenes throughout the movie, like multiple scenes and stuff.
He did lose in the first one, Disco.
No, but he still won because he went toe to toe with the guy.
He went 15.
But he lost him in probably. He lost, right? The thing was, it was a victory for him.
Sure.
As a person, right?
Yeah.
But so I was thinking, 90%, like Eric is saying, 90% in the movie, there's a plot twist, and you get upset because in your mind you had this movie figured out, and it's a good movie. They got good scenes, and I want the payoffs to be what I want to, right?
Yes.
And it got changed. And like, some people are upset with change when their preconceived way they wanted it to go, and they had this vision, and it gets changed as a plot twist, right? But my thing was like, Rocky, the movie ends. 2.5 hours, the movie's over. It's done. We walk out of the theater. Professional wrestling, we have to continue literally week after week after week after week after week.
Right.
And I brought up a couple instances, recent ones, of where there was an obvious storyline, was done extremely well, paid off, but after the payoff, it's like, what happened? Two perfect examples. The Bloodline with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn hit Roman with the chair. What's Sami Zayn's career been like 6 months after he hit Roman Reigns with the chair? Kind of underwhelming as opposed to when he was in the Bloodline, right? Mm-hmm. Wardlow and MJF. Wardlow has been beat MJF and squashed him. What happened to Wardlow after that? So my thing is like, what if right before you were going to pay those two things off, that you put a plot twist in and stretched that story out even further to try to get a bigger pop? Because my thing is like, the Cody story's been like Rocky. We know where it's like, I'm not saying they have the Rocky story, but we know where it's going. Finish the story, beat Roman Reigns, WrestleMania. That's just very clear. And that's like one story. But now it's like, right, 90% into the story or 95%. It's like, we've literally changed the movie. Let's stop doing Rocky and let's start Game of Thrones, where now it's like you have a TKO executive Hollywood movie star coming to the scene, and like, now he's interjected himself into this, and Roman, and let's be honest, Cody's character is not this, shucks, under a guy. Bro, when Cody came in WWE, his character is kind of like a guy that wields influence.
Yes.
Like, he pulled strings and brought Jey Russo, and we had Jey Uso in, and we had and now you have this dynamic of like big time players, The Rock, Roman, Cody, and we've changed the story. I think if fans looked at it that way, it's like, okay, now this story is not finishing the exact same way I thought it was. I'm not going to quit being upset. I want to see where they're taking this now. And I'm interested in that because I don't like knowing what's going to happen in professional wrestling, and I hope you don't either.
No,
I that's what I'm saying. And I'm with Eric. I'm very optimistic about the interest generated and what they're going to do, because I have no clue what they're going to do, which is what I actually wanted, because I knew where the Cody story was going to end. Be Roman at WrestleMania. Okay, great. What happens next? Just like, we got to do TV for the next like 6 months after this. Like, so what's your take on that?
No, listen, I hear what you're saying, and I think it makes logical sense. I just know that they're pivoting and they're going to make chicken salad. They did not anticipate this. No. I mean, this was all a PR move for Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
And he used his leverage, and, he's in the main event of WrestleMania, and look at all the interest that's been created around this press conference that's about to happen. There's more hype and buzz about this than there has been in a match in WWE in a long time.
Dude, we're 30 minutes away from the Tucker Carlson Putin interview being dropped too. So this is going to be a very newsworthy day on the internet. It's right. Everything's a lot of eyeballs like on the web right now.
Conrad.
One thing Conrad said. Sorry, go ahead, Conrad.
If Rock were to come in and say something like, because he's seeing all the pushback, right? And he were to say something like, I came back, I wielded my power. Who wouldn't? I could, and I did. And I'm Rock. Stand down, young man. And he gets the heat or whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it almost sounds like, in a way, I don't want to put words in your mouth, like maybe they didn't expect The Rock to come back and they were going in another direction. And then when he decided to come back, or decided, like you said, for a PR thing,
I didn't hit people over the head with it. I tried to, but I don't think Eric was picking up on what I was saying. But Conan, you'll get this better than anybody, maybe.
Right.
I think Paul hung Dwayne out to dry when he booked Cody to win the Rumble. I think Dwayne wanted to come back and do a little PR. Things aren't going the way they should be. I mean, he's supposed to be the biggest movie star in the world. He's developed a diva reputation in Hollywood. Just look up the exchange about everything that happened with Black Adam, and that Black Adam will not be a character in this next movie they're developing. And his TV show got canceled, and he lost $60 million in the XFL. And hey, let's go back to the base. Let's pick up $30 million, and let's have a reason to have a positive story out there about The Rock with a ton of media and a lot of attention. And I think when he wielded that, because let's not forget, this isn't the official org chart, but Bruce answers to Hunter. Hunter answers to Nick. Nick answers to Ari. And no matter what anybody says, Ari answers to The Rock. Ari is in the business of repping talent. The Rock is one of his biggest talents. He doesn't want that guy going across the street. So he's got to keep that guy happy. And he needs to shine him up again because, you know, he's not as big of a star as he was a few years ago. He's had a few misses. Now, does that mean it's awful and it's the end of the world? No, he's still the biggest star in the world. But I think when they make that deal over Hunter's head and they give him a seat that Hunter used to have on the board, you don't think Hunter feels a certain type of way about that? So I think he probably thinks, okay, hey man, you know more than me. We're hotter than ever. Our stock is hotter than ever. Our fans, our live events are just records every week. Come on back in. We'll let Cody win the Rumble. See how you get over them. See how it works then. Just do it your way. You know more. I think Paul hung Dwayne out to dry by letting Cody win. It would have been so simple. Number 30, if you smell
Rock
wins the Rumble.
I'd predict that's logical. That was my prediction for the Rumble. We all give our predictions. Like I say, I'm hearing the buzz of Rock versus Roman, so I'm thinking Rock at number 30 and Rock comes out and wins the Rumble if that's what they're good at. Because you're right.
Why do you think they didn't do that? Because of the reason you just gave, which is a very interesting observation.
Yeah, well, Conan, let me say this, or Conrad, we're going to say the same thing anyway, probably.
No, I was just saying, I think Paul hung him out to dry because the reality is now the storyline excuse of, I mean, think about the logic behind what Seth said. I know you've beat me 3 times, even when you had one arm, but now that I have one leg, take my belt at WrestleMania. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You can't logically explain that away.
Yeah, but we're...
And Conan, to answer, let me just, because we haven't talked about this yet, Disco, and to answer what Conan said, why did this pivot happen? Well, it's been reported, you know, and I'm sure Conrad has read the same things or knows the same things, that as he was alluding to, this was a Rock and Ari Emanuel decision over Hunter and over Nick Khan. Rock's got his seat on the board, and this is what I want. I want the main event. Yeah.
I think that let me just say this real quick. I think that the problem here, Conrad, is that if that did happen, and obviously everybody's, because even Seth Rollins, and I'm sure you saw the interview, where he goes, "We don't need you here. We're doing record numbers.
Yes.
Glad to have you, but we don't need you, big guy."
Yeah.
You know, he's saying that to The Rock. Like, that's The Rock. I don't get what anybody says.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're think all the guys are probably, and all the hardcore fans. But here's the problem, Conrad. This story that you just told me, how many casual fans know that story? And
nobody.
The end, I think, with all due respect to Cody, whatever you do with Cody, Rock's going to do bigger numbers because he's The Rock.
Help me understand that, though, Tony. How do we do bigger numbers on a sold-out building?
Well, for example, let's say they put him on ESPN. I bet you more people will watch an interview with The Rock because he's more widely known.
Well, there's no doubt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's part of the metric.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I don't got nothing against Cody.
Me neither. Me neither.
I know you don't. That's your boy. But what I'm saying is that, and I don't even know The Rock. I'm just saying, you know, the guy's got a massive, massive social media following. You know what I'm saying? And Cody is not at the level of him yet, mainstream wise. Right. What I'm saying.
Conrad, what I said to Conan and Disco yesterday was that, because I'm thinking like you're thinking, and obviously Disco and Conan have a different perspective on it. I said, look at it like it's the late 90s. You guys are running wild. You're running crazy. And then Hulk comes back in and he goes, look at these numbers I'm drawing. Boom. And he always would plan which date to come back. He
actually did that.
Well, no, I'm saying
so did The Rock.
Yes, we're ignoring the square one of this, of what was the whole thing, that the impetus of how this whole thing started. Okay, and the unforeseen thing is that, bro, I assumed that the storyline was going Cody versus Roman and Seth versus Punk. This all started when we found out, okay, there's no Punk.
No, it started before that.
Okay, well, that's my point. I want to try and marry these two stories and figure out exactly what happened.
They knew
to figure this out. Let me finish. Because here's the weird thing. Your TKO, and this is they just paid $9 billion for this company. This is their first WrestleMania. Okay, so they're thinking big, right? This has to be like, we're the big things, right? So you lose Punk, okay, but we've heard that Rock and Roman were a thing that maybe they had talked about in January. Like me and Cody had talked about when Rock's surprise appearance on that Colorado show and, just showed up on TV when he was in Denver for game day for thing. We assumed that, like, I bet you he met with them and they probably sat down and got the deal together for WrestleMania with what they're going to do going forward, right?
Yes.
But we didn't hear anything else, right? Never heard nothing about it. But I'm just knowing wrestling and the way this is played out. He didn't just show up and go in right. Okay. So, but like you said, but they didn't have him win the Rumble.
Yes.
Which I would thought, okay, that's weird because you would have thought if they had the meeting, he would do that, right? But then Punk gets hurt. And coming out of the Rumble, we had assumed, based on the way they were telling the stories on TV, that it was going to be Roman versus Cody and Punk versus Seth. Now here's TKO. Now we have this emergency situation where, dude, we got a 2-night WrestleMania, and this whole WrestleMania weekend is going to be pretty underwhelming if it's a 1-match show for 2 nights. We don't have a second night main event or first night main event, whatever you're going to do. What do we do? Rock says, okay, look, the only thing we really can do that makes any sense given these parameters is either Rock versus Roman one night, Cody versus Roman the next night, put Roman on for because people are paying for both shows and stuff. You don't want to screw one show and give the other, you don't want to screw one show and make the other show better, right? Put Roman on both shows. Or we take Cody out and tell a story here with Rock, and we put Rock and Roman, and it's Cody and Seth. And even Cody and Seth is kind of like underwhelming for the second night. All right. So now going to this press conference we have here, you need 2 main events for 2 nights on the show. What do you think they're going to do? And my prediction is the storytelling they're going to tell out of this, where Cody says, there's a lot of breadcrumbs that we can reference. When Cody says, not only do I want to take that from you, I want to take everything from you. And what if The Rock, they wrestles Roman the first night for the head of the table?
That's right.
Beats him, and then Roman beats him the second night, and the storyline, bro, they took everything from Roman. The head of the table, the belt, and so, and then I think that's where they're going, but I want to be surprised, and maybe that's not. What do you think?
I think the original plan was Rock comes back, Rock beats Roman on night 2, and
night 2 or night 1?
I think the original plan was Rock comes back and wins the belt on night 2, and then they take the Rock to some of these international PLEs like France and all this other stuff.
Right. Well, what do you think was the night 1 main event plan?
At the time, I think they were thinking it was going to be Seth and Punk.
Seth and Punk.
Which would have been good.
Well, the one Cody's been doing.
I probably. I know the answer, and I'll text you the answer, but I'm not going to say on the show.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool. But
I mean, I shouldn't know that, but I do. So
right. Well, you talk to Cody every day, so
they
right. But you just put secrets like I am too. So go ahead.
This isn't really much. I just want to show you guys since it's building up the press conference. So Cody's dropping a tease that he's going to have a big announcement. He's made his decision. So that'll drive even more interest. Go ahead.
Did you see the clip with McAfee and Rock today?
Yes, absolutely.
What did you think of that? Who do you think Rock was talking to? It's him, LaGreca, and so regular. I mean, seriously, I thought that was funny, right?
I mean, listen, I quote tweeted it and said I resemble that remark. I mean, the reality is here's what I'm for. If nothing else, I'm loyal, and I did not think it was cool, and I didn't really understand how could the video game be based around finishing the story in 40 years of WrestleMania, and that's not where they were headed.
Right.
But I will say this, no matter what backstage politics are going on, Brian is a fucking genius, and he is a wrestling savant, and he's involved. He's in Rock's corner. Yeah, we're going to get some cool storytelling.
Absolutely.
I don't think it necessarily matters that much in the scheme of things if Cody wins the world title at WrestleMania. I just don't want to see him, I hate to even use this phrase, be Lex Luger. WWE had a chance to make Lex at SummerSlam, and they didn't, and people said, well, they'll do it at WrestleMania. So he co-wins the Rumble, and then he got squashed at WrestleMania, and then they put him in a nondescript tag team with Davey Boy, and then he showed up on Nitro a year later. I just didn't want to see that happen with Cody, and I think what you just laid out is most likely. And I've even tweeted that. First of all, let me say this. Huge fan of The Rock, so glad he's back. But I think we can have The Rock on WrestleMania, and it not take away from anybody else. But as Jeff Jarrett has said, when you give one person creative control, it changes absolutely everything on the whole card.
100%.
But go ahead.
I said to these guys also, Conrad, that they're subverting expectations is great. Surprises are great, but there's a time when the move everybody knows is going to happen has to happen anyway. Like if in 1998 they decided, you know what, let's not have Austin get the belt. We'll do, maybe we'll, whatever. And then they postpone it or do a swerve or change the thing. Or Hogan, winning the belt back from Slaughter or something. It's going to happen, but it's got to happen.
But I'll still go back to my original premise, bro. When we do that, there is a history of just what do you do afterwards, and it's kind of underwhelming. My thing is like, why not
Austin beats everyone for months.
Use the same players, add new players, and continue really good storytelling. And that's the process I trust, because they've been good at the one thing that WWE has been very good at is content creation. All right.
Yes.
Not a lot of people are willing to invest and watch those shows from start to finish for 2 hours and 3 hours on a weekly basis, start to finish. But what they're very good at doing, and the fan is very good at doing, is they provide enough of content where there's a good 5-minute clip on WWE each week where it's an in-ring promo and stuff. And as a fan, you didn't watch the shows, but you caught some of the clips and everything, and you caught that segment, and you're still invested in the weekly product, right?
Yes.
They've been excellent at that, to the point it keeps their growth of their fan base to where they're selling out their shows. You can follow the show on YouTube and go know enough to go to the live taping. So they've been very good at that, right? So I think going forward with The Rock in there now, bro, let's put The Rock on TV for some segments or something, and just throw that on YouTube each week, and the amount of views it's going to get in this storytelling and the people he's going to bring along with them, bro. I that's where I think, when you say, well, the show's already sold out, but I'm like, okay, yeah, but there's still fans that are still engaging periodically that will be more engrossed in the product. You know what I'm saying? So
they rented this entire arena in Las Vegas, right, for a press conference. And I don't know that they would have necessarily done that had The Rock not been there. Maybe they would have.
Right.
But you can guarantee it's going to be a bigger megaphone. There's a bigger spotlight because The Rock is going to be there. It is a huge net positive. But the idea that this is the old school mentality of, well, Rock's going to draw more money. Yeah, he might get more exposure, but that's not necessarily going to translate into more money here because they're not selling pay-per-views. But I want to be clear. I'm glad The Rock's back. I'm glad he's on WrestleMania. I'm glad he's at the press conference. And I think that ultimately Cody winds up being a much bigger star as a result of this. I just don't see how that's possible. But I wondered if they didn't do that, and I love this guy, but if they didn't do that, does it start to look or feel like the way they handled a guy like Dolph Ziggler, where we're going to push him and then not, and then we're going to push him and then not?
I don't think so, because I think, Conrad, they were willing to give him the title and have him end the story, but guess what? Rock popped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so I don't think that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're even kind of admitting it. You're not sure if he's going to be a bigger star, bro. They actually had their biggest baby face they have, and they're giving him more sympathy now.
No, I'm not arguing that. That was an accident. That wasn't on purpose.
But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's why the show.
But that's why I'm
convinced and work out just fine.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm convinced he's going to be a bigger star, because it's very difficult to get even more sympathy.
Let me ask you
on a super over baby face that never loses a match. And let's be honest, never loses a match.
Would it have happened? If there wouldn't have been a backlash, would it have happened?
I don't know. I honestly, because I have known, bro, this plot twist came out of nowhere.
Probably not.
What are they doing? We're trying to figure out what they're doing, but we're still probably not right. We've literally thought of almost every angle, and I just was thinking about this as we're having this conversation. You want to go a mega plot twist, right? What if this whole thing is designed to turn? This is the time now to turn Roman baby, and the storytelling. You could be like, what if Cody and Rock are in this together, and you kind of make Roman the sympathetic figure? There's a
Cody gets over.
Yeah, not if he's a super overheat,
or just double turn Roman and Rock, maybe.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of things he could do. I'm just throwing it out there, because when you've been in creative meetings, these are conversations you throw out.
Yeah, I think
I agree, but go ahead.
Cody needs to be a baby face. Rock needs to be a baby face, and eventually, I think the ultimate payoff here down the road, past WrestleMania, is we've got to have a Cody Rock match.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes.
That's what I was. That's the whole thing I was saying. Like I tweeted this out and I got ratioed. Okay, I said, would you all be happy if Cody beats Rock first and then Roman? And then people were like, "Oh, that's like."
Yes.
I'm like, really? I'm like,
but you know,
come on, like,
oh no, not Rock. I'm sorry. I thought you said like
no.
Here's my prediction. Everybody, here's my prediction.
Let's hear Conrad's prediction. Here we go.
I don't ask Cody what's going to happen.
Right.
So let me be clear. I'm just guessing.
Okay.
I think they're going to do a Daniel Bryan type moment across 2 nights. I think Cody beats Seth Rollins in night 1. And I think Roman and that's not the main event. And I think Roman and Rock wrestle there. And then I think Cody wrestles the winner on night 2. That's what I would do. And then
it's not a bad idea.
Well, my only thing with that, and it was the same thing I thought, like if they have Rock beat Roman for head of the table night 1, and then Cody beats Roman the second night for the title, and Cody's beating a guy that's just had a long match with a legend. You know what I mean? Like he's beating him, but it wasn't 100% Roman. It was 70% Roman.
Well, that's okay though, because let's not forget Damian Priest is still hanging out there, and that's what the whole premise this is based on. But I think what we're going to see at WrestleMania is it's going to set up future major stadium PLEs. I mean, they're going to Germany, they're going to France, they're going to Toronto. Like, The Rock is the biggest movie star in the world, even if he hasn't had a few misses lately. So why would you not use your biggest worldwide star on these international PLEs?
100%. That's my whole thing. Like,
yes.
But here's
and here's the other thing, Conrad. Bro, he still looks like a star, bro. On that McAfee show with the jacket and, Crybabies and all that other, he still has it.
He still got it.
He has a presence like nobody else.
So basically, here's what WWE has in summation, is they have one of the better problems you can have, okay? You have 3 guys, and you don't want to do a 3-way, right? But you have 3 guys that are worthy of the WrestleMania big main event: Rock, Roman, and Cody Rhodes. And the story is which 2 of the 3 get that spot. And I think that's the story right now, because that's a good problem to have when you have literally, you have 3 guys that are worthy of 1 match, and you don't want to do a 3-way because that's just the easy way out. But the storytelling going into this, I think is I'm very interested.
Think about what they did for WrestleMania 10. You know, they had multiple matches. Yokozuna had to wrestle twice, and Bret Hart had to wrestle twice, and had Lex Luger won and beat Yokozuna, he would have had to wrestle twice. We don't have that problem now. We've got 2 separate nights. So to be clear, I laid out from the very beginning, The Rock never said he was coming for the title. He said, should The Rock sit at a booth? Should The Rock sit at the bar? Should The Rock sit at the head of the table? He's coming for the head of the table. I don't think their story needs the title, whereas Cody's story is all about the title. I mean, I think Rock's story is about Roman, and Cody's story is about the title his dad never won. And I don't think respectfully that The Rock has had the time to sit around and watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw for the last year, and he probably respectfully thinks that Cody is Goldust's little brother, and that's not who he is anymore.
I don't think so. I'm sure he knows who Cody is. I mean, listen to the reaction, everything. He's got and he seems to keep in touch with the product. I just think it was like what you're saying. It was a decision by him and Ari, which probably Triple H didn't like, but that's his boss. It's happened to me a lot.
Got to do it. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, right. So, and it's like, but the thing is, the news probably trickled down. Yeah. Now the boys are, and now the hardcore fans are, you know what I'm saying?
Well, but here's what I know.
Many of the casual fans know this story enough to go, all right, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
even non-fans who are just Rock fans, or people who are lapsed fans, they watched a long time ago, but not now. The Rock being there is a huge positive, and I can't say enough things about Brian and the idea that he's sort of the Rock's guy. He's going to make sure. I think we are minutes away from the biggest, coolest press conference in wrestling history. Like, I remember as an adult going back and trying to learn about old wrestling, and the WrestleMania 3 press conference and things like that seemed like such a big deal. And then they sort of got away from it. None of it has felt nearly as big as what's happening today. And a lot of that is because of Rock, and a lot of that is because of the decision making. And a lot of that's just because the WWE's hot. Like, this is the perfect storm. It's great for WWE. In the long run, it'll be great for Cody too. I just wanted to make sure my man didn't accidentally get Lex Lugered.
And but bro,
I don't think they see him in that light.
It's a perfect venue for the press conference because literally every major and minor media organizations in town right now for the Super Bowl. Yes. Everybody.
Yes.
Like, so like, if you want all the news to be like all the reporters like to come to the, they're all here. So it's like, that's why they booked this.
Yeah, and then you can ask players, who do you got? Is it Rock or Roman? You'll ask everybody.
And here's the great part of this, Conrad, where we all get on it. Every podcast is talking about this is going to monetize on it because it's something people want to hear.
Yeah. What a few months. Like, sorry, Connor, just like Punk return, the Vince thing, and the Rock. Like, there's been a lot of big in the past just 3 months or so for podcasters to really discuss. But sorry, go ahead.
In the past week, I had 6 million Twitter impressions.
Did you really?
So since I had my Cody meltdown with The Rock coming back at SmackDown, 6 million Twitter impressions.
Right, that's great. Can we talk about just real quick how like it's kind of understated? Nobody really talks about it because how great is Roman?
No, he's super great, and you know what? He's got the best thing in the history of wrestling, and I'm so happy for him.
I talked to somebody, right? He has a deal where he flies in, he goes into his trailer. Okay, anybody that's working with him that day goes to the trailer. They lay out all the stuff with him. He gets there around 5:00. Okay, he goes on TV, performs his stuff, goes in the trailer, showers, goes right back to the airport, gets to the plane, and goes home.
Thank you, Paul Heyman. He has the Brock Lesnar deal. What's the common denominator between him and Brock Lesnar? Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, right?
And before that, wasn't it Punk?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying Brock is the one who wielded the influence because Brock didn't care.
Yeah,
and I think for a long time the WWE, specifically Vince McMahon, knew if you're a wrestling fan, you care. But if you don't care, he's powerless over you. Now you're a mercenary and you're here for a payday. And I think there's a delicate balance there, I think, with negotiating with Vince for a long time. But as I understand it, he's going to work the major PLEs. He'll work some Saudi shows. He'll work a handful of Fridays, and he's in and out, as you said, on a PJ. I mean, that's a pretty good life.
What a great, unbelievable.
Not only that, it's aspirational because every wrestler in the locker room wants it that one day happen.
That should actually be
you know why? Because when I first went to WWE, Conrad, I didn't see they had a little bit in WCW, but it's the first time I had ever seen it. So, like, when I went there, Ultimate Warrior had his own dressing room.
Yeah.
Macho had his own dressing room. Hulk had his own dressing room with food in it. And as a wrestler, I don't think Piper was there when I was there. But
he was I had a funny story about Piper in his dressing room.
I saw him at WWE.
No, WWE. Yeah. So they had their own dressing rooms. And I remember just always thinking, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I hope one day be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's also aspirational.
Scott Hall told me the same thing. He said, everybody hated Jim, but I thought, dude, I want the Jim deal. That dude gets limos everywhere, first class air, has his own dressing room. So, yeah, I think a lot of wrestlers looked up to a guy like the Ultimate Warrior, as crazy as that is, because it's like, hey, he's a businessman. He's got this figured out. I want what he's got.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Kevin Nash always said, he told Hulk Hogan, he's like, hey, I got no issue with you. I just want your money.
Yes.
It's just at that level, that's really all you want when you get up, that should be every wrestler's aspiration.
Yeah.
To be as popular as possible and make as much money as possible.
With as little work as possible.
With as little work as possible. Seriously,
exactly.
It says stay healthy.
Yes.
To be able to enjoy what you made later in life and stuff. That should be everybody's ultimate goals.